What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. My name is Braden Carlson.
My name is Taylor Jesse.
And my name is Shane, or as you might know me, Postart.
And today we are talking level 2. We've touched on level 1 and level 3, and incidentally somehow skipped over the biggest certified, by volume and members. More people are level 2 certified by miles than either level 1 or level 3. And it kind of makes sense, right? Like, it's a really good range.
I mean, it's the sweet spot for sure. And, like, things are exciting, but you don't necessarily have to step into that, like, scary, expensive territory. I mean, it is expensive, of course, but, like, level 3 is, like, a whole different deal. So it's easy to stay in that level 2 area and be happy and perfectly satisfied. And honestly, that's what I like to fly the most of.
Yeah, I was going to say it kind of offers the broadest selection of motors when it comes to commercial stuff. Of course, with level 3, you can make an S motor if you wanted to. But in terms of just things that you can buy off the shelf, level 2 by far opens it up to the broadest range because you go all the way from 38 millimeter to 75 4 grains, the old L2200. That's basically just an M, but
and you get access to like the cool long burns and stuff, so you can still fly to some cool high altitudes and get different thrust profiles and things like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, depending on where you're flying, you can crack like 30,000 feet with a K250 or K270 or K300 if you dare. So yeah, it's the biggest certification level, so it made zero sense for us to skip it and go to level 3. But of course, level 3 is that unattainable achievement without spending a ton of money, so we went straight to doing it on a budget. So we're going to dip into that a little bit. At least I am. I kind of prepared something for when we revisit what we would do for our level 2s now with a budget conscious approach.
I didn't know it was budget conscious. I thought it was just...
No, I did both. I did one that's like how I would really do it if I was going to do it again, but I figured just for the sake of throwing it out there and being inclusive, I have a budget solution, mostly because it's something that I built that I did not suspect would be level 2 capable, and I watched it work. So we'll dive into that later, but does anybody want to tell their level 2 story first? I kind of want to volunteer Postart, actually, since he's the most recent acquisition.
Yeah,
go for it.
All right. I originally had bought a AMW Fiber Max. It was the glass 4-inch Red Max. I bought it at what LDRS was that? The one at the Salt Flats.
Yeah, it would have been 39, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bought it there from Robert and Gloria, and it was like the first big launch I'd gone to. Planned to fly it on a J800, and then after running simulations, realized that wasn't going to happen and still have those fins survive because they're big and like to flutter, but flew it on J500, and it was my first dual deploy flight, and it all went perfectly until the down part. Then
the old Red Max fins will get you every time, dude.
Yeah, parachutes came out. It was coming down. I guess it might have been slightly fast, but it still didn't seem that bad, and just got really unlucky and hit a rock and broke the fillet.
You guys could just upsize your chutes for desert flying like the old PML site told you to.
That chute, there was no more room in that nose cone. It wasn't possible. And it was still like, 18 feet per second or something like that? It wasn't even that bad. But it just happened to find a rock in the middle of all the dirt. And it wasn't like when my 6-inch Red Max was reefed, so it hit like 30 feet per second. Like, nobody was shocked when that fin broke. We walked up to it. I was like, dude, that was sick. It went so perfect. Like, it's his first dual deploy. It was head-end dual deploy. He designed the sled and 3D printed it. And it's first time assembling a motor? No, you did an i600 for your level 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, it couldn't have gone better. It flew perfectly straight, and I was like, dude, nice. That was sick. And we walked up there, and I was like, no way this happened, dude. Sorry, so go on.
Yeah, it was really unlucky, but I had brought with me my Formula 75 that I used for my level 1 and now has like 9 or 10 flights on it. So I just went over to the motor vendor in Idaho, Rick, and bought, what's the single use one? Is it the J420 or J425?
425.
Okay. Yeah, went over and bought J425 and flew it motor deploy that same day, a couple hours later, and it worked.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate because that's such a cool rocket to do. Do you still have that thing, right?
I do, but it did, like, the internal fillet is on the fin root, and so I can't pull it out.
Well, the good news is I have 2 rockets that are like that. You get to watch to learn how to do it, while I get to learn how to destroy my rockets in the process. So you'll be able to watch me ruin things, and then you can refine from there. So
it's
perfect.
Once you do it, you realize that it's not too hard, but it makes a lot of bad noises, and it's gonna make you mad.
Did your sumo have internal fillets?
No.
Yeah, that's the big problem. I'm gonna have to like cut a big portion of my tube, like a 3-sided almost rectangle, just to salvage not having to cut a whole window out of it, and bend the fin out.
Well, you should just be able to take a cutoff wheel and make a notch at the top and bottom of the fin slot so that you can kind of like fold the tube up.
That's what I mean, but it's probably
it's
going to have to come back further than you're thinking, because I assumed the same thing. I'm probably going to have to cut on the big one like 1.5 inches deep just to get it pried out of there.
Oh, that's kind of what I was thinking, but that doesn't seem that bad. I mean,
no, it won't be that bad.
Epoxy over it or whatever.
Yeah, I'll probably just
fill it.
Yeah, I'll use that West 410, baby. That's my new favorite thing for sure.
Yeah, I was just thinking I should buy some of that. It's so smooth and creamy.
Yeah, it is. Tastes great,
and
too.
You get to...
Oh, Nigel the Rocket Cat spotted for people joining us on YouTube. There he is. I heard him purring. He's got a lot to say. I guess I'll do mine next, since Taylor's been level 2 the longest, and we'll kind of do it in order here. I always had like big delusions of grandeur on what I was going to do for my certifications, and then after I dropped out of engineering school, I got my level 1, and I kind of turned my whole life's focus into building out this automotive journalism career, which is weird that worked out, because like that's what I do now. But I kind of steered out of rocketry for a little bit, where I was popping into launches and checking things out every once in a while. But I did, I believe in 2015, maybe, did my level 2. It was old school performance rocketry. I feel like quickly I should break down here, because there was a lot of confusion when we were talking about it in the last. Was a reminder that performance rocketry is what became Rocketry Warehouse and then became Composite Warehouse. Performance Hobbies has consistently been Ken Allen for 30 years or something like that, probably longer.
At least, yeah.
Performance Hobbies is still in business. I just ordered stuff from Ken. Hey, Ken, if you're listening, hey, how you doing? I got my stuff that I ordered from Ken. I did not ever imply that Ken Allen would not deliver your stuff. However, Performance Hobbies, Performance Rocketry. Now I'm messing myself up. Awesome. Composite Warehouse, it doesn't matter. They're gone now, at least for direct-to-consumer purchases. But I do believe, don't quote me on this, but I do believe Curtis is still producing fiberglass stuff for Performance Hobbies for Ken Allen, which I know is ferociously confusing. But yeah, anyway, Performance Rocketry is who made the kit that I used for my level 2. It was given to me by my friend Jim Scarpine, and it was half built. I don't know where he got it, but it was very poorly assembled. So I ripped everything back apart and sanded everything down and turned it into a kit again, and then rebuilt it and made it as nice as I could with the patience of an 18-year-old. And I flew it on a J415, which is pretty cool to have the 54 millimeter street cred for the level 2. The great motor too. If you're not quite feeling the K550 vibes, the J415 is a good call.
You really can't tell the difference, except if you're used to the altitude that the K550 gives you.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not about altitude and you just don't care, like save yourself the money and just like it's still loud and white lightning and fun. Just cut that extra grain off and call it a day. But yeah, I don't know how high that thing went, but I did do full dual deploy for my level 2. It is worth noting though that I've been flying dual deploy since I was like 14, so yeah, I don't have any issues with people using dual deploy for certs. I know a lot of people speak out against that concept, but if you're comfortable with it and you actually take the time to figure everything out, I wouldn't be concerned about it. But we'll dive into that later. I guess now it's your turn, Taylor.
Well, I did all 3 of my certs in one weekend, but that's only because I'd been flying level 1 and level 2 for a few years before that. So I was really just focused on level 3. Not to say that I couldn't have totally blown the level 1 and level 2, but they were kind of my 2 rockets that I'd flown like a million times. So I guess we talked about level 1, but so my level 2 was a Polecat 5.5-inch Nike Smoke, on a K1100, which is like a flight I'd done, I don't know, half a dozen times.
Yeah, I was like, that was
point,
not the first flight in that configuration.
That was like I had at least flown that configuration 4 or 5 times before that. I don't know.
I was gonna say, when was the most recent time you've done it? Because I feel like the K1100 Nike Smoke spans like 15 years at this point.
The last time I flew it, which was kind of felt like a retirement flight. I'm sure I'll fly it again, but I was like, well, I've got away with flying it this long. It was last spring I flew it on one.
Gotta do the K555 though, I thought.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
If I decide to sell you one, that is.
I know that's going to be a difficult to convince, but that would check a lot of boxes for what 13-year-old me wanted.
Me too, and that's the thing is, I like to spread the YouTube wealth since I have so much of it. Literally dozens of dollars are rolling in, so any chance I can get to help you achieve your dreams, there's no sense in not tormenting you over things. So like the blue 6400 case that I waited like 3 months to agree to. So yeah, I guess it's been a year and a half on those K555s though. But we could wait a little bit longer. I have a few now, but like that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't want them for myself. That's kind of
fair. I haven't been asking you for the K555s.
No, that's true. Yeah, and it's.
I was happy with my J365. I only started asking for the K555, I think, a month ago.
Yeah, and that's like, especially because I have some J230s, and basically I'm planning on taking a few of those and making them into K555s because I just don't. I'll probably fly one J230 and be like, that's cool, but it's not K555. So here we are. So I can have a handful of those, and it's just it's nonsensical of me to think that I'm going to fly all of those motors that I have in any sort of a reasonable time frame. So I'm sure I can be talked into it.
Or you could just give me a grain because I'm not super attached to my J365.
Oh, you still have one?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, but if I give you one grain, then I've like...
Well, if you're making K550...
Yeah, I've uprooted the whole foundation. If I take 5 J230s and make it into...
It'll work itself out.
3 K555s, so that's perfect. But if I take one grain out, then I've got nonsense, really.
Well, we love nonsense over here, right?
Yeah, I guess. All right, well, we'll work this out later. Should we go in order the same way we started in that case, actually? Postart, you want to tell us? I know your level 2 was last year, but since getting your level 2...
It was 2 years ago now.
Oh, yeah.
We're in a new year.
Oh, true. Since getting your level 2, you've done a lot more hardcore flights. You did the head-end deploy converted SBR Fusion You did what 3-grain L in your 4-inch Frenzy, right? Or your Prometheus or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you've flown 75. You've flown successful dual deploy. You've gone over 10,000 feet now. What are you doing for your level 2 at this stage of post-tarting?
So, I mean, we were just talking about this probably 30 minutes ago, and I didn't know what I wanted to say. And now that I've thought of it, I have a feeling you're going to say the same thing.
I feel like we all are running the risk of landing on the same conclusion here.
Yeah. And it is seemingly the obvious answer, but 3-inch Punisher.
Yeah. I wonder what Taylor and I picked. We'll have to get into that later.
We're so predictable. Anyway, I guess we'll have to find out what me and Braden say.
Yeah, stick around. It's going to be mind-blowing. What motor are you going with, Postart?
Ooh, I didn't think about that part.
All right, we'll circle back, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, well, mine is also a 3-inch Punisher. I put either K550 or K1100, which I know is Taylor's answer for sure, is a K1100 3-inch Punisher. But I kind of K270. If I was like knowing what I know now, and I would do a K270 in the 3-inch Punisher. It's a tight squeeze and it'll go like 15,000 feet. But it would be super, super cool. And yeah, I don't know. I just like that altitude doesn't, I know it's still high, but it just doesn't seem high anymore. When people like Kip are just flying rockets at balls to 300,000 feet and like every third project's to go to 80 or 90,000, 15,000 doesn't seem that crazy. And with tracking becoming more affordable, it's kind of just on the table for a lot of people. So if you can build a rocket that's going to handle that kind of punishment, nice. Why not go for it? You know, you're risking losing it, of course. Yeah, but you risk losing a rocket every time you fly it. All right, Taylor, shock the world. What's your pick?
All right, you will not believe this, but I decided that I was going to do a 3-inch Punisher.
Oh my God, why?
Yes, but I don't know. It was just. Well, here's the thing. So I was thinking about it two different ways. There was it was like, well, if I were in the same position, like if I were to do my level 2 again, but to have the cumulative experience, I would do a 3-inch Punisher on a K2050, I think.
Oh, wow. I thought for sure you were going to say K1100.
Yeah.
I mean, possibly, but without the history of the K1100 fly, you know, if we don't, I don't know.
Oh, I also put K1103 on my list because that would be pretty hard too.
But if I were to have never flown a level 2 motor before this, like a normal person, I would do still a Punisher, but with a J800.
Yeah, that's a good motor. Shane, don't you still have
or
one?
J415?
I do, yeah. It's that same one.
He forgot it, I think, when he came to Airfest.
Yeah. I was going to put it in my 3-inch Punisher there.
Dude, it's ridiculous that we've come to this point where we forget that we have motors. I know you forgot to bring it, but what were we? We were cleaning something out, and I was like, "Wait, whose is this?" And you're like, "It's not mine." I don't remember what motor it was, but it was like a 75, and I was like, "What the hell? How did I not know about this?" Maybe it was the K1800. I just kind of forgot I had it.
But I remember at Airfest, Postart was just sitting there. I'm like, "Are you gonna fly a rocket?" And he's like, "I don't have any money, and I don't have any motors to fly." I'm like, "Don't you have a J800?" And he's like, "Oh man, I do. It's at home."
It's all right. He's gonna be prepared this year.
Yeah.
This is so funny that we all just went straight to the Punisher. Somebody commented on one of my videos and was like, "Are you related to Tim from Wildman?" I was like, "No, but I see how you might get that impression."
Here's the thing, though. We're not putting up a front. Like, that's just how we feel about it, which is why we built the 12-inch Punisher.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's actually
like, it's not... It seems I know it probably seems like we're just like, oh, Punisher's the best rocket ever. What a meme! But like, I don't know.
I feel like if we were really like some covert operation for Tim, we'd be like, you know, it's the best rocket ever, the 8-inch jumbo Dark Star. I have 4. It's funny to me though. So no, just to clarify here, I don't have any affiliation with Tim from Wildman other than I've been shopping from Wildman since I was like 13, and Tim has helped me out with a lot of stuff throughout all my years of being a broke teenager, just wishing I could fly rockets. So we support Tim as much as we can.
I've been wandering into Tim's trailer since I was 10 years old. The very beginning.
Yeah, not.
What I don't want to know is if there's any sort of, you know, I don't want to ever know the total number of money spent.
Yeah, I wonder if they have like that on file somehow. I don't need to know either, but
yeah,
probably not all the way back. But
yeah,
luckily,
probably,
some of that was cash, and some of it was through my grandpa or whatever. So
there is a decent amount though. Like if I log in now, since they've gone to Shopify, it goes back to like 2017 or something like that. It goes back.
It looks. I don't like looking at the orders.
Yeah, a lot of commas in some of those orders. So not a lot of commas in single orders, but there's a lot of orders there with commas in them. And I'm like, when did that happen?
I'll be
when
like,
did I have that kind of money?
Am I logged in? And then I see the page. Oh no, man! Let's get off of that.
Good lord! Don't remind me. But yeah. Anyway, this episode is brought to you by Wildman Rocketry. No, it's.
Use code Anti-Gravity Group for 10% off.
Dude, don't that's the play, right? Yeah. Yeah, we got
maybe next week.
That's a joke.
Tim is actually supposed to be joining us for next week's podcast. So I'll be putting that on Patreon for questions for Tim. If you want to join the conversation, check out patreon.com/rocketvlogs. But real quick,
did you tell him that he can only come on if he sponsors the podcast?
No. He texted me after the live stream from after the Joe podcast came out, when Joe was talking about the nose cones exploding when they hit the ground. To be fair, he did admit that it was fast. He used the word sporty, but at any rate,
the drogue only recovery.
Yeah, well, I mean, see, I back the drogue only recovery too. Punishers are mainless rockets by design, so
well,
it is what
I know.
it is.
It just feels funny to plan it that way. I mean,
yeah, I don't. Do you think he was implying that he does that on purpose? I didn't think that was.
Oh, that's what I was getting the. I thought he said it was like a 15-inch shoot or something.
Oh, well, maybe we'll just have him, maybe he'll pop in the live stream after this. We could talk about that. Ask him for more in-depth details. But at any rate, Tim sent me a message. He's like, when's the next show? I wanted to showcase the new nose cone. I was like, oh, no. Tim's going to hate us now. But, yeah, so he's planning on joining us next week. So we're looking forward to that. But real quick, I did want to touch on my budget solution for level 2. In the modern era, and if you guys want to come up with something on the fly after I go, feel free to toss
I actually, well, I didn't have quite a budget, but yes, that go on.
So I am going to recommend, just like I did for the level 1, well, the level 1 on a budget thing was standalone, but whenever somebody asks me what rocket they should get for their level 1, I always say the 4-inch Lock Patriot. Because from Wildman, I think, again, not a sponsor, it's under $100 if you have the membership. And from any other vendor, it's, like $105, $110 or something like that. But the reason I always recommend it is that I built one for a video where Lock Precision gave one away, I think, for 5,000 subscribers. and I built it using only 5-minute epoxy, and I think I spent maybe an hour building that thing. Like, there was a fin that was fairly crooked because I did the 5-minute epoxy fillets and flipped it onto that fin to do more fillets, and the epoxy wasn't completely dry yet. So one of the fins was a little off, and I ended up giving that rocket away at Oregon Rocketry's NXRS a couple years ago to this guy and his teenage son, the guy had just renewed his membership and renewed his level 2 cert, I believe. And Rob Appleton, our buddy from Team Num, was there helping me egg them on into flying stuff. And he's like, how about that rocket? I've got a motor for it. And he pulls out a J425, the DMS 38mm J. And I was like, ooh, I mean, go for it. I built that thing with 5-minute epoxy, and I didn't do the most stellar job I've ever done. And it took it. It didn't care at all. It went 6,000 feet, and it was motor deploy. And yeah, so I highly would advise, if you're just looking to get your level 2 cert and you want to just kind of broaden the horizons, even just if you only have 38mm stuff or only flying DMS, just opening up the option to go to J motors is quite a difference. You don't have to build a rocket that you can fly an L in immediately for your level 2. And there's a 54mm version of the 4-inch Patriot. So you could do the J250 or the J275 or a J425. It works. And it's going to go high. You might budget for a shoot release and a tracker. It's going to get expensive fast. But if you can borrow those things, you get your level 2 pretty cheap with that setup.
My choice, which, what did I say the other day? Similarly? Is that the word I made?
Similarly.
Similarly, let's get that on a sticker. Mystic Buzz. If Matt was here, he would tell us about his level 2 cert and how it was a Mystic Buzz. But
yeah, he's not here though. Did he replace your case yet?
Oh yeah, how's that?
Ooh, I'm glad it's brought up. Matt still has not, but he's coming over this Sunday, so I'll ask him about it.
Interesting. I'm sure he'll make good on that if you just ask him about
it. Mystic Buzz is only a little bit more than the Patriot, and it has whistly fins. So
that is cool, yeah. Matt's going to hate coming to rocket launches when he finally gets back to one and somebody's like, did you replace Taylor's case yet? To his face. That'll be the day.
And it's 54mm, so you have a lot of options. If you glass it, it'll take a K. So
Matt's isn't glassed, right?
No. Well, I guess K185. Yeah.
He was not prepared for how high that went.
No.
He was just so excited and it took off. He's like, whoa. And then he's like, that is high. That was the I-600 flight. Huh?
The motor deploy I-600.
Yeah, it was before he did dual deploy. So it just went super high. He's like, wow, that's up there.
Yeah, 4-inch paper rocket, that's a good example because that rocket, when he built it stock, I had him just screw in put rivets or screws in for the coupler so that in the future I knew he would want to do dual deploy, and so we could just swap out the coupler for an electronics bay. But, we talked him into doing a full I motor, and it went super high, but then you add electronics bay, it adds a little bit more weight, and then suddenly that 38mm J is like a respectable flight, but not crazy sporty. But then you have the option to go up to the 54mm, and that doesn't seem as crazy anymore. So it's it's super versatile. You could fly it on an H motor for your level 1, add electronics bay, and then put a J415 in it, and it's pretty cool.
I remember when Matt bought that motor because I was trying to get him to do an I-500. But then he was like, no, I kind of want to do a reloadable one. So Tim was like, do you have a 720 case? And he's like, yeah. And he gives him an I-600. Matt's like, is this a full I? Tim's like, that is a full I. And he's just so pumped about it. And he goes running back to his rocket. I've never seen him that joyous before.
Matt, when he goes into, it's like he forgets about how cool rockets are until he's there, and then he's literally running around like a little kid.
Yeah.
He does the
it's
thing
delightful.
where he flies his rocket and then he just like starts running after it before it's touched down. Like literally running.
Yeah, up the flight line. When the mini mag had way too big of a parachute in it, he was just like holding his phone. He's like looking up at it and just running down the road. I was like, well, there he goes. Yeah, see, this is why somebody asked why we always give Matt such a hard time. It's because we have to keep it in his head that he enjoys rockets. Because if he's not actively rocketing, it seems to evade him. Plus, it's just good to have him around. Matt, if you listen to this, there's no shot. But if you're listening to this, get back in here. We need you on the podcast. It's getting stale, right? We're 18 episodes deep, I think, now. People are going to be over it.
Yeah.
I think he, well, this is his fault, but, you know, he needs to do some work on his rocket before he comes back. Or replace my case, whichever one of those comes first.
There's two barriers
you
to
know
entry.
which one of those is coming first.
Well, I'm putting it out there as an option. In case he doesn't want to do any progress, he could just buy his way out.
That's fair. Enough. It's always good to have the buyout option.
That might be some good incentive to work on his rocket. For like, replacing your case? Yeah, not going to do that. I'm going to work on my rocket instead. In fact, the whole thing's done now. Crazy.
Well, Bossart, did you want to throw out a budget option?
Yeah, I've really been liking T-locks recently, so I'm gonna go 4-inch T-lock with a 38
for a level 2.
Yeah,
you gonna glass the fins?
How about the 7.5 T-lock?
Dude, there's no way a 4-inch T-lock with a 38 survives a J. No way.
Yeah, it would.
I have one.
Yeah, test it.
I'll test it if you're gonna buy me a replacement for whatever gets lost or destroyed.
Maybe.
All right,
we'll see.
Maybe.
I think you would take it.
J275.
Dude, it weighs like 24 ounces,
if even.
Fair,
dude.
Fine, 4-inch Iris. How about that?
Okay, well that's the perfect answer. Clearly. IRI, baby, the best rockets out there.
The
IRI. It's plural. Those are available on hats actually, and the Nike Smoke hat. I feel like now's a good time to plug rocketvlogs.com. Right now, all of the merch sales are going into the Punisher Fund. There's a handful of new designs up, but we have one more coming before I officially announce this in a video, and we officially get the ball rolling on this. We're going to have options to have your name put on the side of the Punisher for a fee. If you're willing to contribute more of a fee, you get an entire fin. Well, one side of an entire fin, or both. You can buy both, I guess. And then special privileges and a limited t-shirt for anybody willing to throw down enough to buy an outboard motor, which I guess at this point really just has to be $350 or more. But
we're selling a whole side of a fin?
I thought that's what we talked about.
Probably. I just don't remember. How much is that?
Right. I think we had landed on 100. And then 25 to have your Instagram name or your name or whatever put in vinyl on the side of it. On the Rocket Vlog side.
And then we'll repaint. No.
Yeah. If anybody throws 5 G's at us, to whatever you want, they'll go to an auto shop and we paint that thing whatever color you want. Yep. They're like, Ford Mistachrome. And the paint job costs $3,800. Dang, they really made the most of that. But yeah, so rocketvlogs.com. There's a few new merch designs, including some hash slinging slasher stuff. All of the money is going into the Punisher Fund, which is going into buying more motors to fly it again, and travel costs for Posthart not getting to Taylor's house and for getting the rocket from Taylor's house to Argonia. And it's an expensive process. Professional Masterpiece can handle it no problem, but it doesn't ride for free. That's the problem. So I guess
we have to buy the Professional Masterpiece hydration.
Yeah, we have to feed
beverages.
Yeah.
I found a hydrogen station in San Diego. I sent Shane a message. I was like, "Look, I found the Toyota Mirai food." What a travesty of a car. While I'm loading this up, the Mirai, when you buy it, you get like a $15,000 card for hydrogen, but hydrogen costs so much now that only gets you like 30,000 miles. To like fill a Mirai up is like $200 now, and you get like 340 miles. It's like driving a truck at this point. Pretty cool. Alrighty, so we're going to go off to the podcast mailbag. I asked what your guys' level 2 cert stories were, and if you don't have your level 2 yet, what your plans are for it. And finally, if you are already level 2, what you would do now, just like we just talked about. So, let's open it up. UPS Rocket Man says, did my level 2 with a 4-inch lock iris on a J350. Hey, this guy gets it. Perfect launch. Jolly Rancher worked. Landed 400 feet from the pad. Nice. The mass adoption of the Jolly Rancher thing is beautiful.
Yeah, it's really spread.
Except when, some people really, really trust that low opening on rockets that are bigger than I don't know.
I just mean calling it a Jolly Rancher. But yeah.
I thought you meant... Sorry, I just glazed over that because that's just what we call them.
If you pack the chute right, though, that's not really an issue. Because the parachute's already out of the rocket.
Once you reach a certain threshold, the 300-foot opening is jarring.
Yeah, for big rockets?
Yeah, like anything over like a 36-inch chute, maybe. Like
I want to start using it for big and high flights, just like for that reason. When I bought mine, I had originally planned on using it for my 6-inch Red Max because the coupler was such a tight fit that I didn't think it would be possible to set it up head end. But then I sanded it with a sanding drum for 4 hours and it fit. He continues, if I was going to do it again, I would use my 4-inch Wildman Goblin on J415 or J800. This guy's got good taste. Good taste. Dylan Bender says, not much of a story. Did my level 2 of the J275 White Lightning on the sustainer stage of my 3-inch PML Quantum Leap 2 kit. That I modified to include an avionics bay for dual deployment. I successfully flew the rocket in the next morning in its 2-stage configuration on a J540 or a J293. That's a flex,
sick.
Dude.
That's sick.
He's like, not much of a story, but I just did something super sick is all.
Yeah.
And the OG Quantum Leap,
which
I was a fan of.
That rocket has some neat avbay bulkheads that I designed. CNC machined from aluminum, which had the charge cylinders integrated into the bulkheads. My man's got billet bulkheads.
Oh
these
my
probably
God.
cost like $300. That's crazy. Also, real quick, I posted avbay once, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, you got audio visual equipment in there." My man, avionics bay. So if anybody was curious about the avbay terminology, there you go. I was like shocked. I was like, I can't believe you were that confident in that.
I don't like saying avionics bay because it makes it sound like I got cooler stuff in there than 2 really cheap barometric altimeters.
Yeah, I still say electronics bay, but every once in a while when I'm typing it out.
It makes me think of like when someone pulls out like a huge board from the old days that's just filled with like the ribbon connectors and stuff.
Yeah.
That's an avionics bay. What I got is 2 9-volt electrical tape to a piece of plywood.
Yeah. All right. Ryan Emmenegger says, I have a fun lessons learned level 2 cert. I had taken my level 2 cert test a year before launching because the rocket I was planning on flying that month ran into some issues. Flash forward to a couple months later, and my test was going to expire, so I said it was time to launch. I scratch built a 4-inch cardboard generic 4-fin rocket to fly on an Aerotech J275. It was going pretty high, so screw it, dual deploy. Come launch day, Lucerne, and it was the windiest July day. Think windy enough to shut the range down periodically. I decided to fly it anyway to not have to retake the test, and that was probably not the best idea. Off the rail, straight as an arrow, perfect flight until the main deployed and it started drifting far and fast across the lake bed. Had to drive in front of it in order to have enough time to run at the rocket and grab the still inflated main as it was being dragged even on the ground. I got the cert, and from that day forward haven't launched in anything remotely that windy. Yeah, Lucerne's brutal on rockets. My Sumo was really pretty, and after one flight in the wind, it's just demolished. He says, if I was going to do it again, I think big cardboard scratch build or kit is a really good idea because it's easy, cheap, and just works. That being said, if you have the waiver and some cool taps, well, you don't really need taps for your level 2. Just up the 2.6-inch pike on a K375 was an awesome flight and would be a legendary cert. Stick with what you're comfortable with and start to go outside of your comfort zone after getting the cert. That would be a 2.6-inch rocket with a big 6 grain 54 is a pretty hard level 2.
Oh, that reminds me. I was gonna add to mine that like if I were to do it at this very second, a 3-inch Punisher on a K375, because to me that's my like favorite combo at present day. But being realistic, I wouldn't choose that motor for a level 2 if I didn't I don't think I would go straight to the 6 grain because it's more expensive and like it just seems unnecessary, and I would probably be more scared of it having never touched in a scenario where I hadn't flown a level 2 motor.
Yeah, that's fair. Rocket Profit says, it's a Mad Cow 4-inch cricket, but with twice longer airframe tube and a 54mm mount with an Aerotech J250. All right. If you know us, you know we're never ever going to advocate for stretching a rocket. We're pretty adamantly against it. That being said, you do what you're going to do. That is an upscale of an Estes Swift, right? The cricket.
But not if you add tube to it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is you're playing with dangerous game right now. To stretch an upscale is really hurting my soul.
For anyone that doesn't know, Braden is the upscaler.
Upscaler, yeah.
Yeah.
UPS Kaler. That was my rocketry forum name because of Arizona Rocketry, actually. Upscalerocketry.com. The picture of the 12-inch Alpha in the pickup truck just did me in forever. Motor eject and shoot release. I would also like to throw out there, if you cut the shoulder off the base of the nose cone and glue the shock cord in the tip, the J250 will fit in a stock length one. Highly recommend reinforcing those fins though. Oh yeah, Cricket is on sale. I got an email from Mad Cow. They like accidentally ordered way too many Cricket fins, so they put them on sale. So yeah, I guess I haven't checked. They might be over now, but if you want a Mad Cow Cricket, now's a really good time to do that. MadCowRocketry.com. Sean Cooper says, first attempt at level 2 was a Blackhawk 38 on a J595 blue. Flight showed me how much I still had to learn. Drag separation, dual deploy, learning curve, etc. That's hardcore.
Yeah.
Also, a quick shout out to our friend Eric Beavers, he's got Wildman Mach 2 that he's doing his level 2 with. I can't remember what motor choice right now, but yeah. Shout out to all the people doing the most with the minimum diameter level 2 and level 3 certs. If you can do it, we were going to talk about that a little bit. Like, absolutely go for it. If you think you can handle that, then I would never tell somebody not to. Your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I agree. It passed the limit of what I'm interested in as far as cert flights go, but I have nothing against people that want to do it. I mean, that's, if that's your thing, then go for it.
Right. There's an inherent risk involved at any point, right? But
just feels, I mean, I'm all about the super high performance cert flight, but it just feels like when you make that step to a minimum diameter, it's like you're severe, like just regardless of your experience, any minimum diameter flight, you're increasing your odds of something going wrong. I mean, not necessarily from like an airframe failure, but just the whole thing. I guess if you did like an old school Mongoose or like the Blackhawk type thing, your chances of succeeding would go way up. But the people that do the really compact, high out, like, really squeezing it out for the cert flight, that is ballsy. So respect to the people trying to do that, but I would not do it.
Yeah, Tom just did one at Balls, the Loki 5-grain cocktail load, I believe. And then Matt Dolly just did his level 2 with a Mach 2 on a minimum diameter flight of some flavor. I can't remember what motor it is, but yeah, there's people doing it. And again, like,
I guess I feel pretty good about a Mach 2. I don't know. That's a pretty straightforward rocket.
Yeah, it's just, if you're going to do it, take the time to like make sure you understand exactly what you're doing. Don't just JB weld some fins to a K455 and assume that it's going to work, Yeah,
because it may just end up in the ground.
Yeah, it could come in ballistic and destroy your brand new tracker. Sean continues. Oh, good.
Brandon's going to get that minimum diameter at Alamosa.
Well, and at FAR in a few weeks.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
M1675, baby. And then a couple minimum diameters. Huh?
A couple?
Yeah. I got mine, and I got the Great Western Buildings one.
Oh, I thought you meant a couple in a few weeks.
Oh, no.
You meant at Alamosa.
Yeah, we could put it together. Postar, you want to fly one?
Where?
Minimum diameter, one at FAR. You get 3 weeks, slap something together. I don't know if mine's even going to happen that soon because I want to fly the Nike Smoke first, but I'll probably end up not doing that and just starting the minimum diameter project. It's going to get more attention anyway. Sean continues, ended up getting my level 2 a bit later on a K675 skid, my single point separation Dark Star 2.6. If I could do it again now, K1275, K1440, and L1090 stick out of some other cool motors. But if I was on a tighter budget, I'd go K1100 for some real bang for your buck, 1706 for the win.
You got my approval. Put a K1100 in anything.
We should put one in my 7.5-inch Iris. Be like somebody kicked
that.
That
would be sick. That'd be some 90s energy.
Yeah. Alex says, I decided to go for my level 2 after flying some 38-720 I-impulse motors and getting much more comfortable with high-power flying. My local club had a really nice-looking weekend launch coming up. I decided to go for my level 2 using my Lock Goblin, which was not my original level 2 plan, but one that I was confident and comfortable with. I was able to get a J340 Metal Storm in time, and that was pretty wild to send at 3,500 feet, which is quite high for our field. The rocket came down halfway between the flight line and the high-power pads. I had to walk 60 feet for it. Complete success. Nice.
Wow.
Solid.
I don't think mine landed very close. I can't remember.
Mine landed super close. Like,
yeah, it went 10 feet.
It went 4,500 feet.
Postards landed really close, and it just happened.
My Red Max flight,
it was like
close.
80 feet from the pad, right where there was a rock in the middle of the dirt.
Yeah.
I think mine landed in the flight line.
Wow.
Or, I mean, it didn't hit anything, but, like, it was
sounds like you were endangering people. I don't know. Michael Grayless says, planning on getting my level 2 this year with a Lock 5.5-inch Goblin and a J350. That's a nice, easy one. It's a
good combo.
It's a lob shot right there. Probably not really by that much, right? Though they're pretty short. It's probably still going to go like 3,000-ish, maybe 25.
Yeah, maybe two in the twos, maybe.
Our friend Bryce Chanis, I forgot that this was his level 2 rocket.
Yeah.
I don't know what his was. I only know his level 3.
It was a 24-foot tall upscale 5.5-inch Mean Machine on a K185.
It was a K185?
Yeah.
What?
I was thinking he put a K1440 in it.
I don't know if he ever did a K1440. I know he did the dual thrust, is it a K640? Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
He said, I had attempted it a few months prior on the Mean Machine with a K740 C-Star at night, but missed one too many questions. We're going to touch on that here in a second. Flew the rocket anyway with a flyer of record, of course, and it worked perfectly. Would have been an epic story to have done my cert flight at night. Oh, well, goofy rocket. Still have about 11 feet of it after parting it out with friends for various level 3 certs.
That's still a lot.
I feel vindicated that Bryce, who is an actual rocket scientist, also failed a level 2 test. Did I fail one? I know I missed the absolute max that you could, but I don't know if I failed one. And my dad absolutely gave me hell for it because he got 100% on his.
Yeah, I don't remember what I did. I think I got 100 or maybe missed one or two. I don't know.
I missed one, I think.
The funny part is the reason I missed so many was because I was using my level 2 study guide that came with my Tripoli binder from when I was like 13. So my study material was like 6 years old. So there were some questions I was like, I have never seen this before. Okay.
Dude. Sorry, you can finish.
Oh, go ahead.
By the time I got around to it, since it was only a couple of years ago, there was already someone who had made a Quizlet for it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's
awesome.
like online flashcards and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been using those for my ham license.
Quizlet rips.
But yeah, so there you go. If you're getting ready for your level 2 test, Quizlet, you can find that somewhere. I'll find it. I'll put a link in the description. But yeah, so don't feel bad if you fail your test or miss a bunch of questions. A passing grade is a passing grade, okay?
Exactly.
All right,
Don't
in our final,
feel horrible about yourself.
like I got
you
a 100.
Be ashamed of yourself.
And if you didn't, why are you even flying rockets? You dweeb. What did Matt get 100? That seems like something he would just be meticulous. Yeah. That's a Matt thing to just.
That's such a Matt thing.
Ace the test.
He's like, I don't know, I got 100.
I got 100 on my Tripoli Mentor Program test because I was 17 when they rolled that out. It was literally, I guess it was right after my birthday because it was at Airfest. Yeah, but I was 1 year short of not having to do that. But yeah, so I got 100 on that.
I just missed the mentor thing.
The weekend I took it was the same weekend you got all your certs.
Oh, yeah.
And the same weekend your grandpa almost took a kid out with his warlock.
Do you have to do a flight with the mentor thing or you just take a test?
No, you just take the test and then you're allowed to fly like with your mentor as high as your mentor is certified. Here's the thing. We kind of did that anyway.
Yeah.
I don't really think there's probably a lot of clubs enforcing that very strictly. If I had to venture to guess, people requiring kids flying with their parents or mentor to actually take the test and pass it.
I think there are now. I mean, from what I've seen. I guess
I haven't really seen like a lot of.
They all have, the kids I've seen have the TMP L1 or whatever. I don't know what it's called. Yeah,
but you fly at a big club.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I have to certain small clubs that I shall not name probably don't.
I mean,
don't adhere
who
to
knows what's happening at some of the smaller clubs?
It just seems. I mean, yeah, it's good to know that the kids got the basic knowledge, I suppose, but it is a bit of a stepping stone that's not really necessary in the grand scheme of things. That's just my opinion. It would be cool if it, like the NAR junior level 1, then became your actual level 1 cert once you turn 18.
Yeah, it should roll over.
Because Jonathan just got his junior level 1. So now he will just have to do his level 2 once he turns 18, as long as he keeps his membership up. That's a cool thing, and it'd be pretty cool to see that integrated with Tripoli. Or maybe it is already like that, and I just don't know. I don't know, man. I'm old. I'm almost 30. Ew.
You're telling me.
All right. Our last entrant here is Corvette Rocks. He says, a custom 3-inch lock Mad Cow kit bash wrapped in fiberglass with tip-to-tip fiberglass in the fins to learn how to do it. Dual deploy using Egg Timer Quantum J350 to 3,776 feet at Midwest Power in 2022. I wonder if I have a video of that.
Probably.
That was the nice Midwest Power, where it was just perfect the whole time. I'll have to look. That's pretty cool, though. We didn't really touch on the budget scene of doing a scratch build rocket, but that is always a cheap option.
Yeah.
Actually, a little bit of free advice. Oh, go ahead.
Or you can get one of those. I guess the most affordable maybe would be like a 3-inch mailing tube.
Yeah.
Maybe put 2 of those together. Some 1/4-inch fins.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Was plotter tubes. Like you go to a sign shop, and any sign shop's gonna have a bunch of them sitting around, and probably just give them to you. They are almost exactly perfect size 3-inch tubes. Almost.
Some of them.
I know what you're gonna say too. Yes. The specs are a little wonky on some of them, but we actually use them for motor tubes on the 12-inch Punisher, the outboards. A couple of them were a little loosey-goosey, so we added some fiberglass. The funniest part to that to me is when we started building the Arcus, and you're like, dude, we're using phenolic. Like, we're not going to use goofy tubes again. And then you're like, whoa, look at all these goofy tubes my grandpa gave me. I was like, well, I bought this 54 millimeter phenolic so that we could cut it up into a couple, and we were going to order more. He's like, well, but I have these. I was like, I swear to God, if we get this things in there and it doesn't work, I am raising hell.
It worked.
Yeah, I guess.
We just had to do a little bit of sanding. It was good.
Yeah. I remember being mad at that. I was like, told you. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not touching that. That's
okay.
Your prerogative.
Here's the thing. On both builds, I would have liked to do phenolic. But when you start adding the costs up, the free tubes start to sound really nice.
Hindsight is like the Arcus, that's a fine concept. But the amount of money we spent on the 12-inch Punisher, looking back, it's so stupid not to have just bought 3 more phenolic tubes.
I think that's my least favorite part of that entire build is that we didn't just buy a few tubes.
That's all. It would have been 3. We just needed 3 tubes. What is that? $50? We spent like $3,000 on it. What were we thinking? At least it works.
Instead we're I don't know. It took all the thrust. I think it'll take more. No thrust plate. Some thin plotter tubes in there. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that was an interesting call, but hey, it worked. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that pretty much touches on everything. Does anybody have anything else to add?
I don't know. No, not really. I mean, a 7.5-inch Big Daddy is like a cooler Warlock. So I'm going to say someone should do that for a level 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're just going to speak into existence what we want to see people do for their level 2s now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big stuff. Big, dumb stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's what we want to see.
A bruiser on a J350s.
Yeah.
A classic. Bring the 90s back.
5.5-inch Patriot on a J275. I want to see somebody. I guess you can't really do it now. Or could you ask TAPS for permission to start building your level 3 rocket before you're level 2 certified?
I saw someone, like, maybe they added a rule that says you can't actually do that, but I mean, there used to not be a rule against it because that's what I did.
Yeah, there used to not be. You didn't even have to get permission from your TAPS to start building the rocket. You didn't even have to talk to TAPS before you built a rocket in a lot of cases.
Well, that was before my time.
Was it? Because my dad used the same rocket for his level 3 he used for his level 2. And he switched TAPS like 3 times because we kept moving. But
well, I don't know if you should announce that then.
No, because within the rules at the time, it was fine. Because
I don't think it was. I think I know for sure when I did it with level 3 in 2012, you had to contact your TAPS.
Well, I think it could just be that he had taps to begin with, but at the time it was apparently kosher. I guess that was the same weekend you were doing your level 3 was the first time he was supposed to do it, but there was so much documentation of the build that all of them were just fine with it because there was videos and photos, and it didn't specifically say that your taps had to approve the design before you started building. It just said that your taps had to approve of the design and had to see that it was built how it was built and check that off. So because there was a million photos, because I was trying to be a rocketry forum star, it benefited my dad in that way. So, and then I guess he didn't use it for his level 3, but it was approved too.
I forgot it has to be like officially signed off now. Back then it was more of you need your taps approval of what you're doing and for everyone to be cool with it and on board. And then sign at the end, sign the paperwork, right. I guess.
Now you explicitly need permission and
now you need
approval
paperwork
of the design
signed before you start,
right?
And dated and everything. Because like for my level 3, I talked to my taps and like set up like I was gonna document the whole thing, and they're basically like, "Nah, I mean, you can just build it and like you know what you're doing. That's cool."
Yeah, plus announcing that is like not putting my dad in any danger because he didn't even end up using that rocket for his level 3. And he did go through the whole process of
I was there when your dad got his level 3.
Yeah. Cool flight. Cool rocket. Little stubby guy. All right. Well, I think that we've waxed enough. My name is Braden Carlson. Please go check out RocketVlogs.com to check out the merch. We're raising money to fly the 12-inch Punisher on an N2000, 3 M1297s, and 3 L850s. You can find me on YouTube at Rocket Vlogs. You can find me on Instagram at BigB1011.
My name is Taylor Jesse, and you can find me on YouTube at The Rocket Channel. There's been some new videos. Not in the past 2 weeks, but this year. So, we're making progress.
Yeah, aren't you working on a Hercules video?
Yes, kind of.
Did you get a bump in subscribers? I made a point to request people subscribe to you in my new Nike Smoke video.
I haven't looked. Maybe.
My name is Shane or Postart. You can find me on YouTube at Postart Propulsions. I'm still working on a video.
All you have to do is put fillets on this tiny rocket and you have a video.
Yeah, I know. But I've been working.
Less than me, I might add. And I still got my Nike Smoke painted, so the excuses are running dry there. Just do it tomorrow. Just do them all at once. Don't be scared.
No, I hate doing that.
All right, well...
No. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
All right, well, get that situated. The people want to see your content. Imagine if we were all making dozens of dollars.
Dude, that's quite a few.
Yeah. We could be flying...
3 dozens?
Yeah, we could be flying J350s, J275s, J500s.
Multiple G motors.
Yeah. G64s.
Like once a month.
G138.
That's crazy.
Imagine the G138 we would have. We are the Anti-Gravity Group. This is the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next time.